Hello, this is Sherry Hayes with MomDelights.com. I'm the mom of 15, been married to my husband for 37 years, homeschooling for 30 years, and I thought today I'd like to share with you a cheap, nice thing you can do to make your home a little sweeter, a little more organized, something that doesn't cost very much. Today what I'm going to be using is a Sharpie, or you could get an equivalent of a Sharpie, maybe at the Dollar Tree. I'm using colored recipe cards, index cards, 3x5 cards, whatever you want to call them. I get these both from the Dollar Tree and from Walmart. They're usually at Walmart, they're only 88 cents for a pack. And then I'm using white index cards as the contrast is what I'm going to actually write on. I actually use the back of these as a backdrop. And I'll show you some that I've completed. This is one that I made that says toys. I'm using that in my basement for toys for when my grandchildren come over. This right here is one that I have made, and I'm going to put it on one of my baskets in my pantry for lunch boxes. So that's what that is. And I have one here also labeled Asian noodles. This will be for my ramen noodles, and I also have some prepared Asian noodle kits, you know, the kind that you just put water and a few pouches in and you heat in the microwave. So that's what this is for. So what I like to do is, especially since we moved to a new house, we don't really know where everything goes yet. You know, I mean, I have it in my mind, but I need to communicate with my children. So what I do is I just take one of these 3x5 cards and I use the lined side. And for most of these things, I mean, it just depends. You could possibly print something out and do what I'm doing, but I think it's easier if you will just take a Sharpie and use just a nice penmanship hand, something that you used in school. It doesn't have to be fancy. This I kind of fancied it up just a little bit, but as you can see, for this one right here, it's just basically a nice hand, maybe with a little flourish here or there, but it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just neatness is really the neat thing that makes this kind of fun. I've kind of got like a freehand kind of look there, but you can just do a basic handwriting font, you know, something that you would use if you were like writing out a check or something, or a letter to a friend or something like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one of these labels. Now you'll see that when I was making, like I did one for flaxseed. Now it's an index card, so if you mess up, you don't mind, you don't care, because it maybe cost a quarter of a cent or something each one. So you can throw that one out, don't worry about it. And you see how many times I tried. Here's one of my mess ups for lunch boxes. In fact, I think I'm going to use the rest of this for the label that I'm going to make. I'm going to make a label for baking goods, okay? So here's what I'm going to write. I'm going to write baking goods. Now I'm going to use 3 lines on my index card, and I'm going to use 3 lines. I'm going to go all the way up for my beginning letter, which will be my capital letter. And so I'm going to make a nice B. You can see there I made a nice B. Okay. Now I'm going to go 2 lines up for the rest of my lowercase letters, and I'm going to try to make them all the same width. I'm making baking, and then I'm going to put goods, baking goods, okay? Now I'm going to put goods here. Consistency, really, neatness and consistency are the major things for making these labels. You don't have to be fancy. But I'm using the lines on the index card as my guide while I'm making it. So you can see here I have made baking goods. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to take scissors. You don't have to be fancy, just neat. And I'm going to go and I'm going to cut this little thing I made out here as neatly as I can, but I'm not really perfectionistic about it. If it's not exactly straight, it's really not going to matter. These are really kind of quaint little things. They don't have to be perfect. So I'm just going to try to be as neat as I can. And I'm going to cut close to the letters so that I save space when I'm going to put it on my index card. Now, as you'll notice on this is not a perfect thing. You know, there's little flaws here and there, but just consistency and neatness as much as you can. Now, I have all these different colors to pick from, and choices are my problem. I think I'm going to use yellow this time. So I'm going to take a yellow card. Now, I'm going to, on the back of this, I have to stick this on to the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first, I'm using this double-sided tape. I mean, I don't know, it's called adhesive tape, I think. I like the double-sided better, but I could only find this at my local Dollar Tree the other day. So I'm using this, but it doesn't work well straight onto the index card because it kind of pulls the paper up for some reason. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just take some regular plastic tape here, and I'm going to put it on the back. And then I'm going to take my adhesive tape, and I'm going to lay some adhesive tape down. You could, in a pinch, use a glue stick. It's just fine. This is easier to me. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to position this on my card in such a way to where I have a border on the top and the side. Do you see the space here on the top and the side? So I'm going to try to make it the same, both on the top and side. Now you see it's slightly crooked. That's all right to have it slightly crooked. These are supposed to be quaint, not perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to cut. On this side, I'm going to try to judge how much I have here, and I'm going to try to make it equal on both sides. And I'm just going to kind of cut on this side, and I'm going to cut on this side. There you go. See? Very easy. Now on the back then, of course, I'm going to have to put some more tape so that I have a space to put my adhesive tape so that it doesn't pull up. And I'm going to put this along that tape. And see how it started to come up whenever. This is nice and sticky. So now I'm going to be able to put it on the receptacle for my baking goods in my cupboard. Another thing that I have done is I have been able to put magnets on the backs of some of mine so that I could put, I have 2 big freezers in my garage. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to put some magnets on the back so that I could put on meat and cheese. I'll show you a picture. I'll take you out there just a second. So what I have done is I've taken and I've made, now these I did in cursive, which is another way you can do it. I have prepared foods, fruit, and bread. These are the frozen items in this freezer. And in this other freezer I have veggies, cheese, meat, and taters. Okay, potatoes, right? Okay, so what I've done is I have taken and made these like I made the other ones, but on the back, you know, when you receive like ads in the mail or whatever, sometimes you will have a magnet, a free magnet you put on your fridge. Well, I took and I cut one of those up, and then I used the adhesive tape and I put it on the back of my labels. That way, in case, let's say that I have an overabundance of or you know, I'm going to switch things around, like I have more in one than the other, whatever. So I can take these labels that I've magnetized and I can switch them around in my fridge. What this does is when I say, someone says, so Mom, where's the bag of veggies? I say, well, you'll find it in the freezer labeled with it, and they'll find it. Or put this away in the freezer labeled bread, and they'll know where to put it. So that's just one way. Another way you can use these. Let me show you some other ways that I've used them. So here is my pantry, and I have sugar in here, of course. I have to use some kind of foreign word because I'm weird that way. So this says zucker, and some of you will recognize that. Okay. Then I have flowers. Here's dried fruit, and I have some other things in there, but I haven't labeled that yet. Also, I have over here on the other side of my pantry, I have a bread basket or bread bucket. And this is like little bits and pieces of things, you know. And this is my breakfast one. And I have all kinds of like, you know, gravy mix, syrup. I have breakfast, you know, dried cereals and things like that over here. This is cereal, like regular old cereal, so I have it labeled right there. Here I have lids from all my pans. I have that labeled there. And I do have some other labels. Here I have some milk crates, and I have one with linens and one labeled non-food. So that's basically like paper plates and that kind of thing. Down here I have one labeled condiments and one labeled, another labeled condiments. This is salad stuff right here. And so I have grains and legumes underneath these two right here. Then I have some others. I'll show you. In this cupboard, I have made them. This says fruit. This is canned stuff. This says fruit. I need to make one that says soup here. I have some green beans here, but you can't tell because the fruit's in front. But anyway, this is general. Tomatoes are down here. Then I have up here canned meat. Up here I have pasta. And I even put a little special little flour thing on there. So anyway, in here I have some baking is what you see there. And I was going to put baking goods on one of these. I don't know if it'll fit, but anyway, you get, and this will be for smoothies. So I've got to make one that says smoothies and put it on here so people know what that's for. And so those are just some of the ways that I've been able to use these little labels. And I just sit here on my bar with all my mess, all my creative mess, and that's what I do. I just make some labels. So I'm going to go do that. I hope you can do that too. You have a happy day. Make sure you like and subscribe. Bye-bye.